Hare Krishna. This is the tutorial on how to chant the Gurvaṣṭaka properly from the perspective of Sanskrit. If you have watched the demo, you probably noticed that while I was singing, I arranged the syllables of the prayer in a specific way, maybe slightly different than what you're used to hear in the temple. Here I'll explain to you exactly why I did things the way I did, and I will also disclose to you certain very important principles of Sanskrit chanting that could be very useful to you in chanting all other prayers and songs in Sanskrit. So, if you are eager to zoom in and know things in more detail, this video is for you. Let's get started. Okay, first thing first. All shlokas or verses in Sanskrit are composed in meters. What is meter? Verse meter is, in essence, a specific number of syllables arranged in a specific order in one line. Okay, so there are different meters in Sanskrit. For example, there are the one which is most common is 8 syllables per line, as we have in most of the verses from the Bhagavad Gita. The meter which is used in the Gurvaṣṭaka prayers is called Indra Vajra, or the thunderbolt of Indra, and it is composed of 11 syllables per line. You can check every line, that will be 11. Some lines are slightly different. There is a small variation of that meter, and I will explain to you where exactly it comes. So, Indra Vajra meter, 11 syllables per line. Sangsara dava nalalidha loka, 11. In Sanskrit, there are two types of syllables, a heavy syllable and a light syllable, or guru and laghu. So heavy, light, guru, laghu. Sometimes they are referred to as long and short, but this kind of terminology sometimes may mislead you. So therefore, let's prefer to call them heavy and light. So this Indra Vajra meter, consisting of 11 syllables per line, which is used in the Gurvaṣṭaka, can be represented by lines and dots, like a Morse code. So line stands for a heavy syllable, and the dot stands for the light syllable, or laghu. I will clap out the meter for you. Tan, tan, ta, tan, 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 ta, tan, tan. Now you can repeat together with me and clap along. Tan, tan, ta, tan, tan, ta, ta, tan, ta, tan, tan. Now, frankly, if you play the dotal in kartals, in other words, if you take kartals and play 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, which is sometimes used for different bhajans, this is actually more favorable to represent the kind of meter that Gurvaṣṭaka is composed in. Now, I'll demonstrate to you how. I'll use the same morning melody, but I will play 1, 2 on karatals. Anyway, I don't have karatals, I'm just clapping. So listen to how faithfully this beat, 1, 2, the 1, 2 beat will represent the structure of the Indra Vajra 11 syllable meter. Sangsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. Everything is so straightforward. It's so easy to put the heavy syllables where they are, to put the light syllables where they are, and not to confuse them. So now we are mostly singing this prayer with 1, 2, 3 beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it is also possible to arrange this specific metric sequence in 1, 2, 3 beat, but it is slightly more tricky. And if you are not trained in Sanskrit chanting and you don't know certain rules of it, it might be really difficult. So here I am to help you. We'll go through the whole Gurvaṣṭaka line by line, and we'll exactly sing each line, how it has to go with the karatalas, in order to preserve the authenticity of Sanskrit meter. Okay, so let's start. Initially we'll just clap, and I'll show you how I arrange these heavy and light syllables of this particular meter on 1 2 3 beat. Okay, so let's start first with the beat. So imagine this is karatalas playing. Tan tan ta tan tan ta ta tan ta tan 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 ta tan tan ta ta tan ta tan 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 ta tan tan. Follow along. Ta ta tan ta tan 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 ta tan tan ta ta tan ta tan tan. So like that. The trick is when you play karatalas 1 2, and on 3 you have to enter with the first syllable. So 1 2. Sangsara dava nalalidhaloka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru shri Charanarvindam. This was the first verse. It is common to hear devotees singing like this. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Sangsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya. Very common. But if you notice, it actually interferes with the Sanskrit arrangement, where the first 2 syllables have to be heavy. The heaviness is created by either more length, or sometimes you employ different tricks like pauses or consonant stretches. Anyway, it's very technical. So now I'll make it simple for you. You can hear it. Sang, sa, ra, da, va. Heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy. But if I say Sangsara dava, the first 3 syllables sound like light, yeah? Light syllable, it's fast. Tang, 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 tang. But the actual word is sangsara. So the first syllable, sang, is a heavy syllable. Even though it has a short vowel, it is a heavy syllable because of that anusvara. And then sa, the second syllable, sa, it is heavy syllable because of the long vowel. So sang, sa. Next one is ra. It is short. You really go through it very fast. Sang, sa, ra, da, va. Again 2 heavy syllables. So this is how we sing. In most of the lines of the Gurvaṣṭaka, you have the first half like this. Heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy. 1 2 3. 1 2 tranaya karunya ghana. Okay, third line, starting karatalas. 1 2 3. 1 2 praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya. Okay, and the last line is always the same. Vande guru shri. So heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy. Vande guru shri. Okay, so this was the first verse of the Gurvaṣṭaka. Now let's take the second verse. Mahaprabho kirtana nritya gita. Okay, never think of singing nitya gita. I've heard devotees singing it as nitya gita. It's nritya gita, dancing and singing, and not the eternal singing. Anyway, so here, 1 2 3. Mahaprabho kirtana nritya gita. Okay, the same structure. 1 2 karatalas are playing 1 2 3. 1 2 3. ta-tan, ta-tan, tan, ta-ta-tan, ta-tan, tan. Here is the difference. If you've noticed it, you are sharp. The first syllable was light in this line. So even though majority of the lines in the Gurvaṣṭaka are composed on Indra Vajra meter, some lines have the short syllable in the beginning. So therefore, the sub-variety of this 11-syllable meter is called Upendra Vajra. Upendra Vajra. So we have Indra and Upendra. Indra is the big one, Upendra is the small one, Vamana Deva. So therefore, the variety of that meter with the light syllable in the beginning is called Upendra Vajra. And it goes like this. Ta-tan, ta-tan, tan. Instead of tan, tan, ta-tan, tan. Okay? I spend less time on light syllables, on laghu syllables. So ta-tan, ta-tan, tan. The rest of the meter is the same. The only difference is in the first place. So therefore, in Mahaprabho, I do not sing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, Mahaprabho. That would be wrong, because that ma, first of all, it has a short vowel, and secondly, and most importantly actually, it is a light syllable. So why would I spend more time rhythmically on that syllable if it is light? So therefore I say, I play 1, 2, 3, Mahaprabho, and I enter after the third beat of the karatals. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Mahaprabho Kirtana Nritya Gita. The rest is the same. It's just when do you enter. If the first syllable is light, you enter after the third beat of the karatals. If the first syllable is heavy, and I will tell you exactly in each line how it is, so you don't need to break your head. So then you enter on the third, right on the third beat for the heavy syllables, and after the third beat on the light syllables. Okay, so that's it. Second line, first syllable will be heavy, so we enter on the third beat of karatals. So I'll sing the second half of the first line, and we will go into the second line. So Kirtana Nritya Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasora Sena. Notice how smoothly I entered into the second line. Vaditra Madhyan. Here a small point. Madhyan. The second of Madhyan is short. So you can of course sometimes compromise and sing Madhyan Manasora Sena. And yeah, it might sound maybe melodically or musically more appealing, but traditional singers in India, you know, Madhva Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Vallabha Sampradaya, they have lots of Sanskrit songs and stotras that they also sing and not just recite in chanting. So they even though they might be singing, they will not compromise on this short and long vowels. So instead of singing Madhyan, I sing Madhyan Manasora Sena, and I extend that because according to the scheme, heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy, as we are already familiar with it, that syllable dhyan has to be heavy because it's in the fifth place, yes? So Madhyan Manasora Sena. I make it sound heavy with that dhyan by hanging on that nasal. Okay? So Vaditra Madhyan Manasora Sena. And similarly, we start the Romancha on the third beat of the karatals, because Ro is a long vowel, a long syllable, and it is heavy one. So Romanchakam Pashrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guro Shri Charanaravindam. That's all. About the word Guroho. Okay, if you would say every word separately, it's guroho. But because that visarga comes in the middle of the line, we do not need to echo it. Especially in singing, it would sound a bit strange. Vande guroho shri charanaravindam. It's not wrong, but it might be not so conventional. So you kind of release the remaining air in your lungs, which is the meaning of visarga. It's releasing, okay? Releasing the air. So, Vande Guru Shri. So you can hear it. Guru Shri. Sometimes you can also pronounce this visarga as the second sh. Guru Shri. But you don't notice it in singing because it's kind of it's a bit subtle here. So Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So just add a slight Guru, that slight breathing out in the end of Guru Shri, or substitute it with the sh. So Guru Shri, which will sound like double sh. That is also perfectly correct from Sanskrit grammatical point of view. All right, so we are learning many new things, and I hope it is interesting and engaging. So let's go on to the third verse. Again, all the lines in this verse start with the heavy syllable, so which means you know that 1, 2, 3. You enter on 3. Okay, 1, 2. Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana. Okay. Here in the word Nityanana, you could hear I made some pause there. Nityanana instead of Nityanana. Again, as a Sanskrit person, I like to conform to the ground principles of Sanskrit and Sanskrit chanting. So I do not easily go for a compromise, even when I sing. So you might compromise and sing it as Nityanana, because that syllable has to be heavy. But the more correct way to show the heaviness of the syllable here, of the syllable ni, is to have a pause before the tya. So Nityanana, like that. Okay? Then next, Shringaratan. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Shringaratan mandiramarjanadau. Okay? It's a tricky line again because there are many heavy syllables in this line. If you compare it against the this line and dot system. So tan mandiramarjana. So both tan and man are heavy, but you notice that I do not stretch them. I do not sing tan mandiramarjanado. I stretch the consonant n and man. Tan mandiramarjanado. Okay, so if you want to be always a bit more on the precision side, to stay more faithful to the Sanskrit principles, you can always do that. You can always find a way to do it. If you want to compromise slightly, I think it's okay. But since this video is to teach you the technical aspect of singing, staying faithful to Sanskrit meter and pronunciation, so therefore I'm pointing these things out to you so that you know. All right, and then the third line. 1, 2, 3. Yuktasya bhaktangscha niyunjatopi. Okay, so it is a bit, again, tricky. Yuktasya bhaktangscha. So the structure goes like this. Yuktasya bhaktangscha niyunjatopi. Okay? So we put it on 1, 2, 3 beat. Again, it becomes a bit trickier. So 1, 2, 3. Yuktasya bhaktangscha niyunjatopi. Okay, so since we sing it, it may be not as convenient to do that. So if every now and then a slight stretch of a short vowel, I think it's permissible. So, alright. And then Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Again, if you want to stay faithful, you should not sing as Vande Guru Shri, because that would make first three syllables light. Tan, 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 tan. And the meter goes heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy. So, Vande Guru Shri. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Next, okay, and about Charanaravindam, again, I do not do Vindam because E is short. I rather make up for it by hanging more on that Vindam. And this is what I've heard in countless recordings of traditional singers who are very familiar with Sanskrit, and this is how they go about this Sanskrit pronunciation within the realm of music or singing. Next verse, Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada. Okay, let's start with karatals. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada. I'll repeat it again. Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada. Yes, did you notice that I entered after the third beat of the karatals, which means that the first syllable was actually light here. So cha is light, so therefore 1, 2, 3. Chaturvidha Shri Tatan Tatan Tan. Instead of the usual Tan Tan Tatan Tan, here we do Tatan Tatan Tan. So remember, fourth verse, first line, you start after 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Chaturvidha Shri. Okay. Svadvanatriptan. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Svadvanatriptan Haribhakta Sanghan. Normal, usual line. Then third line. 1, 2, 3. Kritvaiva triptim bhajata sadaiva. Once again. Kritvaiva triptim bhajata sadaiva. So the first syllable kr is actually heavy here, but it would be a little bit strange from my point of view to do like kritvaiva triptim, to prolong that kritvaiva, because it's not long anyway. So I start slightly after the 1, 2, 3, after the third beat of the karatals, slightly after, but still showing it to be heavy syllable, like 1, 2, 3. Kritvaiva triptim tan tan ta tan tan. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Kritvaiva triptim bhajata sadaiva. Or you can sing bhajata sadaiva. That visarga there can be also pronounced as S, because it's followed by the word starting with S. So both ways are correct, either bhajata sadaiva or bhajata sadaiva. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Great. Verse number 5, second half of the Gurvaṣṭaka. Here, first two lines are as usual. Tan, tan, ta, tan, tan. The usual Indra Vajra starting with the heavy syllable, and therefore you know very well that you enter on the third beat of the karatals. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Shri Radhika madhavayorapara madhurya lila gunarupa namnam. Okay, madhurya lila, that second syllable, dhurya, the dhu was also guru, so madhurya lila. I didn't sing as madhurya lila. I always try not to prolong unnecessarily the short vowels, because there are many ways that you can make the syllables appear heavy without that. So madhurya lila, I did more stress on that dhurya, okay, which still make it sound like tan tan ta tan tan, madhurya lila. Okay, and the third line, it is a light line, starts with a light syllable pra. So again, as you know, we enter on the after the third beat of the karatalas. 1, 2, 3. Pratikshana svadanalolupasya. Okay, tatan tatan tan, tatatan tatan tan. Then Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Next, sixth verse. Again, first line Nikunja starts with the light syllable. So it's again just like in Pratikshana, tatan tatan tan, instead of the usual tan tan tatan tan. We have tatan tatan tan. So 1, 2, 3. Nikunjayuno ratikeli siddhyai. Okay, then ya libhir, that's usual Indravajra heavy one. Ya libhir yuktirapekshaniya. Third line tatrati, it is a heavy one, but I will start slightly after the third beat of the karatals, because I don't want to stretch the ta to make it sound as if there is a long vowel, and I don't have a consonant like n or m which I can stretch and give the heaviness to the syllable. So anyway, just listen to me doing it and then join along. 1, 2, 3. Tatrati dakshya dati vallabhasya. Once again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Tatrati dakshya dati vallabhasya. Anyway, if you have musical ear, if you are sensitive to rhythms, you will get it easily. Otherwise, let's do it third time again. 1, 2, 3. Tatrati dakshya dati vallabhasya. Okay, and the same Vande Guru Shri. Seventh verse. Let's see what we have. Yes, first line is sakshat. It's a heavy line again. Tam tam ta tam tam. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Sakshat dharitve nasamasta shastrair. Okay, and then uktas tatha is just like the third line of the previous verse. Tatrati. I'll start slightly after the third beat of the karatals, but the syllable will still be heavy. So 1, 2, 3. Uktas tatha bhavyata eva sadbhi. Okay, again, let's do it. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Uktas tatha bhavyata eva sadbhi. Here, if I would recite the verse without music, I would definitely say sadbhi uktas tatha bhavyata eva sadbhi. But because we are singing, all these visarga echoes may not sound that great. So sadbhi, just release it like that. And then the third line is a heavy line. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Kintu prabhorya priya eva tasya. Once again. Kintu prabhorya priya eva tasya vande guru shri, and so on. Last verse. We did it almost. Great. So yasya prasadad tam tam ta tam tam. You tell me, is it a heavy one or a light one in the beginning? I hope you said heavy. So yasya prasadad. Even though the vowel is short, it doesn't prevent the syllable from being heavy. Anyway, we'll not go in details on this point. So 1, 2, 3. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Yasya prasadan nagatih kutopi. Here, many people make mistake. Yasya prasadan nagatih kutopi. In other words, by mercy of Guru, you will not achieve any goal, any transcendental goal. By mercy of Guru, you'll be a loser. So don't fall into it. So that long I is very important. Yasya prasadan. So try to merge these two words always. However, in the first line, there is no aprasada. There is prasada. By mercy, by satisfaction of the Guru, you satisfy the Lord. So there you don't need it. So therefore we sing 1, 2, 3. Yasya prasadad. Yeah, I didn't stretch anything. But in the second line, 1, 2, 3. Yasya prasadan. Yasya prasad. So this is the I'm talking about. The second one. Yasya prasadan. That's important. It will change the whole meaning. Nagatih kutopi. Again, we do not need to echo this visarga. Nagatih kutopi. We can actually pronounce it here in a special way, which is called Jihva Muliya in Sanskrit. Nagatih kutopi. Gatih kutopi. This is very similar. Actually, it's the same as Russian H, or Hebrew H, or German H. Achtung, Nagatih kutopi. Or if you don't want to be that smart and stylish, I guess you can just do Nagatih kutopi in a soft way. So anyway, almost over. Third line, dhyayan stuvangs tan tan ta tan tan. Heavy one, so therefore we enter on the third beat of karatals. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Dhyayan stuvangs tasya yashas trisandhyam. Okay, one more time I'll repeat it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Dhyayan stuvangs tasya yashas trisandhyam. And let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Hari Bol. So by the mercy of Guru, we have completed this tutorial. And I hope this is all very interesting to you and it is helpful to you. Always know that I have excellent, very detailed video courses both on Sanskrit pronunciation and Sanskrit chanting as well, which is a whole amazing, very interesting and engaging area. So if you at any time you want to know more about it and acquire a new skill, which is very, very actually useful in the bhakti, because we have so many Sanskrit verses and stotras which you can chant really, really nicely, both for others and for yourself and for the Lord as well. So this can help you. And let's go on to the other chants of the morning program, and whichever are a part of the standard BBT songbook, and you can watch the demos, and I will provide the tutorial just like I have provided the tutorial for the Gurvaṣṭaka. Okay, thank you very much for watching. This was Sanskrit Sense and Nityananda Dasa at your service. Hare Krishna.